Hi everybody and welcome to The Doomed Episode 3. Once again, Judge Damiel and his Servants of Purity will face a very difficult and potentially deadly mission. They will have to enter an abandoned, ruined city in search of a lost member of the Warband, and they must try to take control of the different city sectors as well as face the horrors inside. After their last mission, Sigimund the Herald was lost, and he has to be found again. So this time only 4 Warband members will begin the mission. And between these 2 missions, the Doom Tracker, of course, also has moved. And it was the category Hunger, and the role was Thieves. And that means the Warband cannot buy any equipment other than what they had available in the last mission. So no new weapons or anything, they'll have to reuse their equipment. The Warband is worth 23 points and has a prestige of 2. And with 2 successful missions behind him, Judge Damiel is the leader of the Servants of Purity. He is tough, he has Condemn, and he is armed with a Thundergun and a Relic blade. He has so far completed the leader ambitions, Supremacy and Prosperity. With him he has his trusty champion Sothar. He is fierce and he's this time armed with a blaster and also his shield. Then we have the Zealot Eilik. He is tough, he is a Fanatic, and he is armed with a Relic blade. And new to the Warband, instead of friends, who unfortunately lost his life in the last mission, is the Chronical Wilfort. He has the ability Aide, and he is armed with an Incinerator. Final member of the Warband is Sigimund the Herald. He has the ability Inspire, and he is armed with a Polearm. But he is lost, and he will deploy at a random edge of the battlefield. The battlefield is divided into 4 quarters, and the Warband will deploy in the lower left quarter. The other 3 quarters are all marked with a red token. And the Servants of Purity must complete the conflict Trailblazer this time. They will have to take control over the 3 table quarters marked with the red tokens, and they can do so at the end of a round after all actions. If there are no standing enemies in the quarter, they can declare it as safe and under their control. And it could be easy if it wasn't for the twin leapers, the sting-tailed nightmares with a symbiotic mind, lurking in the city. They are armed with rending claws, they have venomous sting, and they also have the ability Symbiosis. Along the center of the battlefield, they have 3 foul breeding pits, their nexus points, that must be destroyed before the twin leapers can be taken out for good. And these foul breeding pits will also potentially spit out minions, twisted spawns of the twin leapers that the Servants of Purity will have to deal with as well. Let's see what happens in round number 1. First Warband member to enter the city is Sothar the champion, and he knows Sigimund is in here somewhere. He'll just have to find him. So he'll take his first move action, and from this point he will try to move again. He will have to make a quality test. He has a quality of 4, so he will move just fine. That was his second action, and with his third action he can actually target one of the nexus points. He is in line of sight and he will hit. 2 hits with his blaster, and the nexus has a defense of 5, 2 rolls of 5. Otherwise, and it will make the defense rolls. The nexus is still intact, and Sothar is exhausted. Now the twin leapers will activate, and the one closest to Sothar will begin with a move action. Move in a straight line behind this pillar, and of course attempt another move action to get even closer. Now it can see Sothar. And it will fail the first move attempt, so it will attempt once more, and the twin leapers both have a quality of 3, so this time it's good, but it will not be able to reach Sothar. Luckily for him, the leaper is exhausted now, but with the symbiotic mind ability, the other leaper will have a free action, and it will of course also move towards Sothar. He is the only enemy at the moment. Sigimund is wandering around in the city, and he will deploy at edge number 1, that is the lower edge of the battlefield, and from this position he will move all the way up to the center of the battlefield. That is his first move, and his next move, no, he has a quality of 5, and his third attempt he will continue to search for his Warband members. But by doing so, he catches the attention of one of the twin leapers, and it will move in his direction. First move and the second attempt to move with a quality of 3, no problems, and that will take the twin leaper into base contact with Sigimund. Now he really is lost. The leaper will attack with 2 rending claws. It will hit on a 3, and on a roll of 6 it will do double damage. So 1 rending claw hit, and that will be a total of 4 that Sigimund must block. He will block 2 of them, but he will also be wounded, and the roll on the shock table is a 6. Sigimund will panic, and he will swing his polearm and try to attack the leaper. He will have 1 attack, and he will need a 5 to hit. And he will hit the leaper. Even though he is in deep panic, he is on target. The leaper must block, and it will fail both quality tests. It will be hit, and it's forced to roll on the shock table. It's going down. 5 on the shock table. The powerful strike of the polearm will throw the leaper out of the way, directly away from Sigimund. So it will be downed, but Sigimund, of course, in his panic attack, also will be downed. The other leaper will have 1 free action, again because of the symbiotic mind, and it will move into base contact with Sothar. Now the judge himself is on the battlefield. He will enter the city, 1 move, and then he will turn and try to move again. He has a quality of 3. He is the most experienced and best Warband member. And from this position, he can fire at the Nexus. And he will need a 3 to hit with his Thundergun. That will be 3 hits that the Nexus will have to deal with, and it will of course not be able to block the Thundergun, so it's destroyed. And as a Nexus effect, immediately there will be a spawn, and another Nexus effect is that the leapers will make a free move towards the nearest Nexus. But with 1 leaper downed, it will only be the other one that is able to do that. So it will leave Sothar behind and immediately move right up to the point where the path is blocked. And finally, the judge will use his Condemn ability. He will point at an enemy he can see, and all units will be able to make a free attack if they are within line of sight. And Sothar will fire his blaster. He will hit twice. The leaper must try to defend those hits, and it will do so. No damage. Next up, the Twisted Spawn that just arrived will move into base contact with the judge. It will attack 3 times with Hungry Jaws, and it will hit on a 5, but a roll of 1 will damage the spawn itself. It will hit with 1 attack, but the judge will block, and now it will take damage from its own attack. And with a roll of 6, the Twisted Spawn will immediately panic and again attack the judge with 3 Hungry Jaws. And this time, it will not hit anything. And it will be exhausted and downed. The new member of the Warband, Wilfort, will activate next. He will enter the abandoned ruined city with a move action, and he was able to move quite far. He will attempt to fire his Incinerator. He is close to a nexus, and the Incinerator has the ability to fire twice at 2 different targets. He has a quality of 5, so he will hit twice. The Nexus must make 2 quality tests of 5. One is good, and the other one is not. And the Nexus is destroyed. And that will trigger the second Nexus effect. Immediately 2 twisted spawns will appear. And they will not only appear, they will be able to make a free action. One of them will move towards Wilfort, and the other will move towards the downed Sigimund. Wilfort still has 1 action left. He will attempt to move again, but he will fail his quality test and stay where he is. The next unbound unit to activate is the Twisted Spawn here close to Sigimund, and it will move and then attack him. 3 Hungry Jaw attacks. 1 hit, but again, with a roll of 1, it's clumsy. And Sigimund will defend, and that was lucky for him, otherwise he would have been taken out. And now the Twisted Spawn is damaged by its own attack. It will roll 7 on the shock table, and there will be no further effects, so it's down. It still has 1 action left though, so it will attempt to recover, but no. Eilik, the Zealot, is the final Warband member to enter the city. He will move, and then he will be able to see the judge from his position, which is important. Because he is in base contact with a Twisted Spawn, and he can attack with a quality of 3 when he can see the judge. So he will hit 3 times with his Relic sword, and the minion will attempt to defend the hits, and it's a good try, but unfortunately not enough. Instead, it will roll on the shock table, and it's a roll of 9. It will crawl away, and then it will be downed. Eilik has 1 action left. He will attempt to move again, and he can see the judge, so that will give him a +1. And he will move in 1 straight line, and he is good. So he moves to this position. And 1 unit left to activate. It's the downed spawn. It will have to recover, and it's not able to do so. And that was the end of the first brutal round, where all Warband members have entered the city and already fought the twin leapers. One of the leapers is down at the moment, but we will see for how long. Before the next round, we will have to roll on the response table, and it's a 1. Each spawn makes a free move towards the nearest leaper. But I guess all the spawns are down at the moment, so they will not be able to move. But what about the Warband members? Will they be able to take control of one of the quarters of the battlefield? Eilik here is standing in the upper left quarter, and there are no standing enemies. There are a lot of enemies, but they're all downed. So he will be able to take this quarter under control, and we will remove the red token. 1 down, 2 to go. It's round number 2. Judge Damiel will begin round 2, and his first action will be to attack the minion with his Relic blade. 3 attacks, and he will hit with at least 2 hits, and the spawn will have a chance to defend. And it will not, so it is taken out and destroyed. And that was Damiel's first action. Now, what is he going to do? His second action will be a move action. And from here he will continue a second move, and he is good. He will pass his quality test, and he will move to this very strategic position where he is able to see several enemies and also several of his Warband members. And then he will point his finger and condemn the downed spawn, and that means that Wilfort will be able to fire at it with his Incinerator. He will need more than 5 to hit, so unfortunately he will not be able to destroy this minion. But Damiel has left his trusty champion Sothar all alone in this section of the city, and the Leaper will turn around, get into base contact, and immediately attack Sothar. It will hit once, and Sothar must block the hits, and he has his shield, so he will have +1 because he's readied, and he hasn't moved yet, so he will only need 3, but that is too difficult for him anyway. He will be hit by the Leaper, so he must roll on the shock table, and it's a double. It's 10. He will roll a double, he will be taken out, but he will also have a last gasp. He will be able to perform a free action, and of course he will try to kill the Leaper. He is not armed with any close combat weapons, but he can swing his fist and he will hit even though he uses the wrong dice. And the Leaper now must block his Fists of Fury with a roll of at least 3, and it will shake off his attack, and Sothar is taken out by the Leaper, and immediately it will activate again, and the next action will be a move action, and that action will take the Leaper to here, and that also means the second Leaper with the symbiotic ability will activate, and it will recover, so now it's back in action. What will the Warband do now? Eilik moves to the third and final Nexus, and he will attack it with his Relic blade. He fights with a quality of 3 when he can see the judge, so he will definitely hit the Nexus. And the Nexus has a quality of 5, and it will be without any chance of surviving the brutal hit from the Relic blade. The third and final Nexus is destroyed, and immediately there will be 3 twisted spawns in its place. And from now on, all the twisted spawns have the nimble ability, but Eilik doesn't care. He will use his second action for another attack, and again he will hit, this time one of the spawns, and it will be defenseless. He is chopping his way through Nexus points and spawns. Really brutal at the moment. And it's a roll of 9 for the twisted spawn on the shock table. It will crawl away and try to escape Eilik's chopping blade. And it will move as far away as possible to here. And of course, it will be down. And Eilik is now exhausted. But next up will be the second Leaper, and it will begin with a move action. It has several targets, but of course it will target the judge. And it will attack with rending claws, and there will be 1 hit. So the judge must block twice. And he has a quality of 3. He will make one of the quality saves, but the other one will fail. Luckily for him, he has the tough ability, and his reroll will save him for now, because the Leaper can attack a second time. And again, this time it will hit once. So the judge must block again. 1 good, 1 bad. He is forced to reroll. And if not, then he is out. And it's good. He is safe. He's tough. Most certainly tough. And this leaper is now exhausted, but its symbiotic twin will now have a free action, and it will move and take it all the way into base contact with Wilfort. But Wilfort is out of there very fast. He will use his first action to move away, and from this position he can see both leapers, and with his Incinerator he can fire twice around, but not at the same target. So he will target the first leaper with 3 attacks. He will need a 5 to hit and 2 failed attacks, and the final one will hit. 1 hit against the leaper, but is it enough? It has a quality of 3 and it will block the shot and take no damage. Well, he has another try. He will turn around and target the second leaper. Again, he will have 1 hit, and again, the leaper will not take any damage. At the end of his turn, he can see the judge, and that enables him to make a free recovery or move, and he will roll for movement, and he will jump and crawl on the top of the broken fountain. The next unbound unit to activate is one of the twisted spawns surrounding Eilik, and it will attack him. And again, it will hit once, but it will also damage itself. Let's deal with Eilik's hit first. He will have to block. And he will fail, and he will also fail his reroll. So that forces him to roll on the shock table, and he will roll a 3. He will be bleeding. He has to pass a quality test now, otherwise he is out of this match. And he fails. The twisted spawn avenged the chopping from earlier and took Eilik out. But it also damaged itself, and it will roll on the shock table. It's a 4. It's an opportunity, but there is no attacker, so nothing will happen. It will still have 1 action left, so it can try to recover, but it's a failed attempt. Now with Sothar and Eilik out, it's crucial that Sigimund gets back on his feet, and he does. He will recover. So now he's up. He was lost. Now he's found, and he is standing right next to a downed spawn. He will swing his polearm, try to pierce it. He will need a 5 to hit. And he will hit. Great performance by Sigimund. 2 hits, and the spawn will be removed if it is not able to block the hits, and it's not. It will fail. And then, of course, it's destroyed. Sigimund has 1 final action left, and he will move to the crater here, and that will be his final action. He is exhausted. He still has his Inspire ability though, and he can see the judge, and he can also see Wilfort, and one of them will make a free fight, and of course that will be the judge. He is standing right next to the leaper, so he will swing his relic blade, and he will hit the leaper. And the leaper will block 1 hit, fail the other. Could this be the end of this leaper? It will have to roll on the shock table. And it's an 8. It will fight back. Not good for the judge. The leaper will fight back before it goes down. Rending claws and 2 hits this time. Judge Damiel will now face 4 hits. And he will fail 2 of them. He will be able to reroll with his tough ability. And he makes them both again. It's close to a miracle that he's still standing, and the leaper is not. It's not over for Judge Damiel yet. One of the twisted spawns will attack him. First a move action and then a fight action, and it will hit with 1 of its attacks. Again, Damiel must block. And he will fail, and again he will reroll, and still he is good. The Twisted Spawn will, without a doubt, attack a second time. Question is, can the judge even be damaged here? And it will hit one more time. The judge will make it, and once again he stands strong at the end of a fight. Now we have two Twisted Spawns, and they are both down. The first one will attempt a recovery, and it will fail. The second one will attempt to recover, and this time it will get back up. So that was the first action. And the second action is to move against Sigimund, and the final action is to attack him. And once again, they will actually hit twice, but also damage itself. And Sigimund will block one of the hits, not the other, so he is hit. And the roll on the shock table is a 7 this time, so nothing will happen other than Sigimund once again is down. What a mess in this second round. Sothar was taken out, Eilik as well. The Warband is down to 3 members, and both Leapers and a lot of Twisted Spawns are still very much alive. And at the end of the round, we will once again have a response. So a roll on the response table, and this time it's a 6. One of the Leapers will attack with a stinged tail. It will fire its tail projectile at Wilfort here. It will have to roll 3, and it will be 3 hits but, well, very luckily for Wilfort, it will not hit. It's the third round. At the beginning of the third round, Judge Damiel has an unique opportunity to take out one Leaper for good. He will swing his blade, and he will hit twice, and he will hope for a bad quality defense roll, and he's lucky. The Leaper will not defend. The judges strike, and it's out of the game. Dead. But the other Leaper is of course still around. Judge Damiel will use his second action to move, and finally he will fire his Thundergun at the second Leaper. But he will not hit. He can still condemn it though, so he points at the Leaper, and that will make Wilfort immediately fire his Incinerator, and he will hit. He needs a 5 to hit, so he is on target. The second Leaper must block the shots, and oh my god, a lot of 6s here. So Wilfort hit the target, but the Leaper took no damage. Furious with the loss of its symbiotic twin, the Leaper will move towards Damiel and, of course, try to shred him to pieces. And one hit with the claw is good. The judge makes one defense roll. He can re-roll. He will make the other. He is still not taking any kind of damage, but the Leaper can attack again. And this time it will hit with both claws. 4 quality tests to avoid damage. Let's see what Damiel is capable of. He will block 3 of them immediately, but again he is forced to re-roll. All of this because of his tough ability, and he will again succeed. Wow. The Leaper will have to withdraw, and the judge is unharmed. Wilfort can now fire his Incinerator. He can fire twice, but only once per target. And again, he will hit the Leaper, and the Leaper will not block this time. So a roll on the shock table will decide what will happen. It will try to get away. So it will move this direction, seek cover behind the ruined wall, move away from the judge and Wilfort. and then it's down. And Wilfort can fire again at a different target. He will target the spawn here behind the fountain. Let's see if he can hit anything this time. 3 shots. And he will again hit the target. The minion has a quality of 5. It will fail, so it's hit. And will roll on the shock table. And the twisted spawn will get double 1. It will be splattered out, shot, killed, immediately taken out by Wilfort. Oh my god. He is effective with that Incinerator, and for his third and final action, he will move to the edge of the fountain. It's not looking good for Sigimund. He is down, and he will now be attacked by a twisted spawn that will strike him twice. He will have to block with 5s, and he is not able to do so. Sigimund will be the 3rd Warband member to leave the ruined city. But the minion is not finished yet. It will move and then try a 3rd action, move again, but it will fail the quality test. There are 2 twisted spawns still left. This one will try to recover, and it will fail, and then the second one will also have to recover, and that's better. It's back, and it will move, and the 3rd action will be to attack the judge. And 2 hits, and also 1 that will damage the spawn itself, and the judge will finally fail his defenses. He failed 1 and had to reroll, and in the end he took damage, finally. And it says 7 on the shock table, so nothing will happen, but the judge will of course go down. And so will the spawn in the end, and the roll on the shock table here did not result in anything. And at the end of the round, Wilfort is in the upper right quarter of the city, and he will take control of it and remove the token. And we also still need a response. It's another 6, but there is only 1 leaper left, and it's downed, so it cannot fire its stinged tail projectile. Well, that was the end of the 3rd round. 2 Warband members left. The judge is finally taken down, Wilfort is still standing, and there is still 1 table quarter not controlled by the Warband. And we also have 1 leaper left. It's also down, but it's not over yet. Round number 4. It's crucial that Judge Damiel gets himself together. He will have to take out the leaper, but he must recover first. And he only has 1 attempt, but that is good. The judge is back. He will now move towards the leaper and attack with his Relic blade. 3 attempts, it could be over for the leaper now. Let's go, judge. 3 attacks, and he will hit with 2 of them. The leaper must block with rolls of 3, otherwise it's over. And it will fail the first attempt, and the earth will tremble, pillars will fall down, the city is in ruins. The leaper, both of them, have been taken out. And with the final leaper, all the twisted minions also disappear. It's all over. The judge and Wilfort can breathe freely. And Wilfort will use his action this round to move into the 4th and final quarter. He will need 2 moves, and he's good, and he will remove the final token. They also complete the conflict Trailblazer, and they have also defeated the horrors of the Twin Leapers. The Warband will earn 2 prestige, and they will also earn Renown, so they can buy new equipment and get access to new abilities and stuff. But all of this could come with a heavy price tag. Sothar must roll for casualty. And it's a 4 on the casualty table, so he must be in the next mission, and if he's taken out, he has no chance of survival. Next up, Eilik, And his roll on the casualty table, it's another 4. So 2 fragile and wounded Warband members in the next mission. It's not looking good, but at least they are alive. And what about Sigimund? He rolls a 6. He's got himself a scar. So no one was killed in action or lost this time, but 2 serious injuries that the judge will have to deal with. So he will put his warband together with equipment and stuff, and we'll see about the next mission. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope you'll join me for future bad reps.